Hey, John Mayfield, and thanks for joining another podcast episode with me. I'm in Miami, Florida with two of my, I want to say you're good friends. I mean, we've known each other somewhat. With Sheldon Good and Honey Good, but your first name, is it Susan? I heard Susan Grief. Yeah.
Susan.
Sheldon is past president of FIOPSI, which is it's a world organization of not only real estate professionals, but architects, educational, just a whole wide variety. And I have learned so much from this organization. And you were president what year?
Oh, I can't even tell you. It's so long. I've been so involved so much with organized real estate.
And first of all, I should say thank you for agreeing to do the podcast. So Sheldon had some interesting things that you were the first person, from my recollection, and you tell me if I'm wrong, who really started the whole auction real estate.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The International Real Estate Federation.
Right. So he we'll get into that in just a minute. And Honey runs a very successful online, I want to say blog, but she calls it a magazine. But it's really, what I like is you have a really specific niche that you speak to people that are, I'll let you give it, but it's a unique blog and my wife loves it and reads it.
I speak to women over 50, but I find that, which startles me and gives me great pleasure, is that 20% of men read my stories, and I have many women under 50 that also read honeygood.com.
Yeah, honeygood.com. So we'll have all that information in there. So, but two very big icons on our podcast today. So this is a new podcast I'm starting. It's called It's Your Story. So Sheldon, if you had to give us a synopsis about your story as a real estate broker, how did you get into real estate? What led you there?
I was a real estate major in college.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, at the University of Illinois, and then I started to sell. While I was going to school, I was selling, and then I went to work for the Pepsi-Cola bottling company, selling Pepsi-Cola machines.
Oh, machines. Okay.
Machines. And I'm just a people person, and I was interested in being successful.
Yeah. And so you started this whole concept of auctioning real estate, and I remember that. I got my license in 1978, at the age of 18, but I had a property that a trust company had, and it was a unique property that they were trying to sell, and they said, hey, there's this thing that's going on called a sealed bid auction.
Real estate auction.
Yeah, real estate auction. And you actually were the
starter.
Yeah, started that.
I started.
The father.
Yeah, well, and I just learned this the other day from the young people. He's an original gangster. That's what they call that. So he's an OG. So
People say,
but he's the original, one of the original father of sealed bid auctions.
People say they want to talk to me about how I started it. I said, if I tell you, you'll put me in jail.
Now, yeah. So now, did you have auction.com or what? You had a very well-known domain.
Real estate auctions. We specialize in real estate auctions. We found out that people that, when they got into a competition situation, we could get a better price.
Mm-hmm.
We could get a better price. People fighting each other to get the property that they thought was best for their operation.
And I have to say that property, which we did a sealed bid auction on, did create interest and kind of, there was something about it that drove that price up.
Well, if someone else wanted it, they wanted it too.
Yeah. So very, very interesting.
People have a tendency to create ideas from other people's ideas.
Right. So very, very interesting. So I'm going to jump over to Honey real quick. It's going to be like an online radio interview so I can keep both guests going. But what made you decide to start honeygood.com? I'm sure there's a story behind that.
Well, yes, there is a story, and I believe there's no accidents. I met a woman, and she asked me if I was a snowbird. We were living in California, and she wanted to know what a snowbird did because she was just a woman that lived within the community. So I looked at her and I said, well, I'm really bored with my busyness. I've learned to play cards, I'm a golfer, etc., and I'm very bored. And she looked at me and she said, well, I'll tell you what to do. And she said, if you keep a journal for 3 months and never miss a day of writing, you will find your voice. And I sat up because I will find my voice was very appealing. And I asked her how she would know this. And she said, I know because I'm a writer and I'm an author. And so I went home and I talked to who I now call my ultimate concierge because he is the best husband in the world, in my opinion. Truly.
Yes.
And I discussed it with him. And I had just learned to type. And I was in love with Steve Jobs. So I brought out my computer after Shelley said, well, try. And I put my fingers on my keyboard. And all of a sudden, I went into my own zone as I started the first day of what was to become now a 10-year journal
And
of
you
authentic writing.
I love that. And you actually have a huge following of people. And again, it's honeygood.com. And you have some of the most, what I like, the most innovative, interesting articles and tips and suggestions to help people, what to wear and what to pack on a trip, and just shortcuts for things that have been very beneficial. So that's very, very cool.
And the reason that I'm able to write this is because I'm well over 50 and I've lived a very interesting life with many hills and valleys. And I've met people from all over the world. And so I have a head full of knowledge. I've really earned my PhD in life,
Right.
not out of a book.
And so what do you think is the main question women want to know who are over 55 or 50?
Well, I think that for women over 55 who become empty nesters, who may be widowed, who may be divorced, who may be retired, who may be looking for a new career, many women over 50, because of age and the other and everything else I just mentioned, feel very invisible. Women tend to feel invisible because as we age, we're not as noticed. We're not glossed over and put in magazines. And so I believe that every woman has potential and she can soar after 50 because she's so much wiser.
Right. And that's what I appreciate about both of you and really people at this conference. Every conference I go to, there's like this theme that goes through my head. And there are a number of people, and I will not mention Mr. Good's age, but most people your age would just say, I'm too old to go to Miami Beach, Florida for a conference. They would just, but you're here, you're participating, and there are more people I've spoken to here. There's a gentleman here from Germany who's 80 years old, and he said, I don't want to quit working. I want to keep going. You started an online presence.
In my 60s.
Yeah, and you're still innovative with technology and learning how you can reach a larger audience. So there's one piece of advice is you can still do things you want to do in life.
Absolutely.
Don't give up.
And as my husband always says to me, the best is yet to come.
That's right.
We all have to walk on the sunny side of the street and be grateful, right?
That's it.
That's
And
right.
that's
I-
how Shelley and I lead our life. We're
That's-
very grateful, and we walk on the sunny side of the street, and the best is yet to come.
And just great people. I mean, sitting down with me to do this interview. Now, again, this is for It's Your Story, but I also have a podcast, Global Real Estate School, for new agents. What advice would you give a new real estate agent or someone who's has a license and they're struggling? What advice would you tell them to have a successful career as a real estate agent?
I think they have to look for an organization that will accept them and educate them. It's doing what they want to do.
Education.
College education is very important. College education is very important.
Was there anything that you did early in your real estate career that just kind of changed your whole trajectory, course, or path?
I'll tell you a quick story. I got called one day from the University of Illinois that the school wants to interview me and invites me to give a speech at the college graduation that year because of my success in business.
And the University of Illinois is a big university, so
They wanted to know what I thought was the reason whether I was successful and how much the university had to do with it. Well, I was thrilled to hear it. I was lucky. I thought I was lucky to graduate.
yeah.
So I said, sure, I would. And they invited me and my family, with my wife and my kids, to the university for a week, just before graduation. And I was to make the graduating speech at the university and in the stadium. I mean, that's the kind of crowds we got at the university.
Right.
So when I heard it, I was really impressed with myself.
Yeah.
That somebody wanted to hear it. And then I thought about it myself. Why? And I think it's a goal that you see other things and other people and what they do. And I always worked. I always had a job. And I remember I started out selling Sunday morning, delivering the Sunday morning paper for the department stores to neighborhood areas. And then from there, I got involved with the real newspapers. And I kept stepping up and up and up. And I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be the best if I could. And along the way, I had teachers that helped me. I had people that helped me. And I wanted to learn. And I just kept trying and trying and trying. I still do.
Right.
And I still do. But I think it's something that you either watch in the movies or you see with other people that your parents talk about, or you just see successful people and you say, I'd like to do that too.
Right. I think what I'm hearing too, and it's something I've always tried to do, but it's the last 10 years has really been more prevalent in my life, is and someone said this yesterday, or one of the girls from that are on one of the reality shows, but they said, you are your biggest cheerleader, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to, and I think that's what I'm hearing. You didn't give up, you kept believing in yourself, and you kept trying and working hard, and it has paid off and done very good.
But along the road, I had a lot of people who were good influences on me. It would help me.
Yeah, and that's so important. And you've done that same thing by giving back to others, because I've heard that through this organization. And when you give, you always receive back. So Thank you for your service.
Well, I've had a successful life, a healthy life, and I've created a lot of good things in business that have brought better business activities to the market, and I've learned from other people the same thing, and they improved and I improved on theirs, and someone will improve on mine.
Very good. Thank you so much. Honey, anything you want to add to close out?
Well, yes, one thing. I tell this to the women. If you want to do something, you cannot ride up the elevator. You have to climb the stairs.
Right.
And when you climb those stairs, you're going to trip, you're going to fall back, and you're going to pick yourself up, and you're going to start all over again, and you're going to keep on climbing until you reach your goal. And then you'll never feel invisible, because your beauty is really internal. It's not external. And when you feel really good about who you are, you will walk into a room, you will stand taller, your eyes will twinkle, you'll have a big smile on your face, and the young girl next to you, who may be more beautiful, is not even noticed. They'll notice you.
What a great way to end our podcast. That's wonderful. Thank you both so much. Kind of tying all this in with what you said, Honey, about you're going to fall and but you got to get up and keep going. I remember my counselor saying, well, based on your scores, you'll never graduate from college. And I thought to myself, there was a stumble on the stairs. And I thought, no, I want to go to college, and I'm going to keep going. So
I'm still involved.
Yeah, so
I'm still involved at the University of Illinois.
Very, very good. Well, thank you both so much. This is
Thank you.
John,
Thank you.
it was fun.
I hope our comments will help other people.
They will, and be sure and check out Honey's blog online, honeygood.com, and you can follow, because you put Sheldon in a lot of your
yes.
stories as well. So all right, thank you again. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.